The difference between kindness and being walked over. Well, for a lot of people, kindness is, well, for most people, kindness is something you do because it's the right thing to do. But sometimes we are kind because we feel we should be. You know, these are kind of circumstances where maybe there's expectations of us, those kind of things. So it's a wee bit more tricky then. It's not a case of just being kind, because it depends on the context of your life. Now, for some people, they can say, okay, I'm just going to give of myself here because I am helping. Then other people might say, depending on their specific context, well, you know what, I'm giving too much and I'm tiring myself out. This isn't actually good for my health because I'm exhausting myself, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally as well. So it's not quite as clear cut as a simple answer for everyone. It's context dependent, I think, is the phrase I would use. But for a lot of people, you can just say the easiest thing is to say, okay, I'm going to fold into this. You know, there are expectations of me, but I'm going to choose to give of myself. And therefore it's not stressful because you're making the choice to wholeheartedly do it. But as I say, for other people, depending on the context, there's just a bit too much of that going on, and you really need to step back and be kind to yourself. So it varies from person to person. One of the biggest, first breakthroughs I had actually in building self-love for self-esteem was recognising that how you hold and move your body is a reflection of how you feel about yourself in particular situations. So when you're struggling with your self-love, your self-worth, self-esteem, you can, for the most part, you can flick between those terms. When you're struggling with self-love in a particular environment, you might be, you know, sitting, holding back like that, or in a sense you're making yourself smaller. I mean, I'm obviously exaggerating here, but in a sense what you do is actually become physically smaller, just the way you make adjustments to your posture. So the big breakthrough I had was literally in standing up for myself. Something I'd never done, you know, really any bullying situation, a situation where someone might be trying to force their will or take advantage. I'd never actually emotionally stood up for myself. I had a history of bullying when I was at school. And standing up for yourself is more than just saying this is the things that I will say and do. It's literally standing up for yourself, and that breakthrough and recognising in myself that if I literally stood up and held my body in a stronger way, then it's a great defence against bullies, because immediately the bully recognises that you're not shrinking down, because they're used to seeing they recognise subconsciously, instantly, they're used to seeing people's body language go submissive. And so the moment you stand up, physically stand up to a bully, it knocks them off guard. And I remember with this particular person, they actually lost coherence and ability to be their normal self, be their bullying self, because I literally stood up for myself. And it was like, my goodness, I've never done that. And recognising, the big breakthrough for me was doing that, and recognising if you keep doing it, you literally start to adjust the circuits of your brain until that becomes a habit. Literally standing up for yourself becomes your reflex reaction, your natural habit. I did a lot of visualization and literally standing up for myself in practice, knowing that by doing so you literally wire the circuits until instead of being afraid of it, was more of I did hold my body in a way that demonstrated more self-confidence and more self-belief, and in that sense more authority. So I would, if you do that and practice that offline, you know, physically and mentally, because the brain doesn't distinguish real from imaginary. And so if you can imagine yourself, and I'm talking not just for a minute or two, but really relentlessly, that might clock up an hour or two a week of doing it, you know, stretched over the week, then it becomes more of a habit. Your body language changes and people subtly sense authority, as opposed to, this was just my own experience, as opposed to recognising fear or weakness. So for me, I gradually turned it around. But a second thing that I did was empathise, as well as saying, okay, I'm going to be stronger than I've been before. I empathised and understood their position as well. So for me, it was a two-way kind of thing, but I had to work on myself first. Because that was the immediate needs I had as emotionally, before I could even go there with the empathy side.